welcome, Michael Bentley. We're so happy to have you here today, talking about promising IT careers in a post-AI world.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. All right, so we're just going to dive right in. I've got 30 minutes and more slides than I can fit in that time. So, what are we talking about here? Who are you talking to? Well, I want to talk to you about IT careers post AI. And who am I to be talking about that stuff? Well, I'm this guy, Michael Bentley. I'm a good old Southern boy, born and raised in Georgia, but I've been on a computer since I was 8 years old. So, I like to tell people I have 35 years of computer experience. I'm a founder of Verity, where we teach people in demand IT skills and we teach easy to learn in demand IT skills. And we like to go into underserved communities to teach it or to teach them. So there I'm the founder or co-founder, and I'm also a member of SplunkTrust. So some of you may know this organization if you're familiar with the Splunk product. We're a group of people in the Splunk community, and we help others learn Splunk. We help others get careers in Splunk. We just really helpful people, right? So typically, if you know somebody who knows Splunk, that's one thing. But if you know somebody who's in the Splunk Trust, they're a complete nerd. I could say that. I'm a member. Anyways, I'm also a serial cybersecurity consultant. I do run a consulting firm where we teach people how to do cybersecurity at an enterprise level. So we're talking about running SIEMs and migrating from one cloud to the other and all sorts of data security and analytics type use cases. All right, so what I want to tell you today is that this is like a total reset. All right, AI is, you've heard of everybody say it levels the playing field. All right, well, what do we mean by that? Well, the people that are my age, right, are struggling to learn AI, while people who are just coming out of school have been using AI for, a good portion of their life. So I really think if you're a junior in IT, learning AI is going to set you ahead of people who may be seniors in IT, right? So that's what I mean when I say I think it will level the playing field and why I think now is a good time to get started, right? Because we've all heard about these millions of unfilled jobs, right? But where are they, right? Well, all I know that is truly happening, there may be millions of unfilled jobs. That may be the case. We're not finding them, but we are finding that if you have an AI enhanced resume where you throw AI somewhere in your product, right, then you're demanding up to a 40% premium just for having the AI. So you're a cybersecurity guy, great, but you're also an AI cybersecurity person. Wonderful, even better, right? So you may be a data analyst, but if you tack on AI as a data analyst, all of a sudden it's paying 25 to 40% more. So this is hot. What type of jobs are there that I think brand new, right? Didn't even exist? Well, AI security engineers, and this is probably what everybody wants to be. Oh, I'm going to defend against threats like prompt injections and, you know, help us avoid data poisoning and adversarial attacks that fool AI into making wrong decisions. That's my job, and I want to do it, and it pays really well, and it does. It's great. And you can even get into it at an entry level, right? But this may not be for everybody because it is mostly a mid level to, a higher end level stage of your career type of job when you're talking about security. All right, we find that it's an entry level security engineer that requires 20 years of experience. You're going to find the same thing with the AI, but this is what you may aspire to be. Right, this might be the end of the path for you. All right, but there's other jobs you probably haven't thought of. About ethics officers. So you might not even be really into coding or Python and all that. You might actually just be more interested in transparency and fairness and accountability, right? And you might be interested in, helping others, with statistics and, measuring their success at a nonprofit or something. It's something I do all the time. All right. But when you're using AI and at scale, like we are now, right? Somebody has to decide what's okay to do with it, what's not. Somebody needs to be pushing for AI ethics. And it's not something you may have thought of because you might be heads down thinking cybersecurity. Prompt engineers, that's one everybody's heard about. The good thing about this is it's entry level and high demand. If you just learn how to talk to AI, add that to your resume, that might be 10 to 15% of that potential 40% raise that you're going to get. So that's one of the reasons why it creates a level playing field. It just gives you a whole bunch of extra salary, apparently. You get them up to 40%. Wonderful, right? But I also mentioned, right, you've got people like who are my age who are struggling to even figure it out. Right? We're stuck in this old mindset. It's harder for us to adapt AI, right? Maybe we've got children, we've got family, we've got other things to do. Whereas if you're new, fresh, out of school or a junior, right, you've got a lot of more time on the weekends, I would hope, to actually get into this stuff, learn it, and get ahead of people like myself. So that's what I'm talking about here, right? There's the old school thinking, right? Everybody's doing it one way, they're stuck in their ways. But if you come at it with an AI first perspective, you're going to think of new things and you're going to learn things that people don't want to learn. And it's going to be the new hotness, right? So, in terms of cybersecurity, we didn't have prompt injection attacks. We weren't using machine learning to come up with chemicals that could do harm, right? We didn't face those type of adversaries before AI came into the picture of cybersecurity. But it's also changing the medical field, right? It's changing the legal field, and again, just putting the basic understanding of AI on your resume can set you apart from everyone else. And you don't have this baggage we've got, so you don't have to worry about that. Let me give you a real quick 6-month sprint. If you don't know anything about AI and you want to get you a job, what do I think you should learn to figure that out? So I would say in months 1 through 2, I want you to take some free resources that are already out there. You've seen NIST. They have an AI risk management framework. It might be abbreviated AI RMF. There's this OWASP machine learning top security. There's the Sanford ML systems design standards. There's a bunch of other ones. Just read the news about it. Get a basic understanding of what we're talking about. And I really think it gives you a higher ROI just being able to talk about it and know the words to use and know the recent updates, right? The recent news about it. That's, sometimes it's 90% of your job is just knowing the jargon so that you can communicate with your team. And so this would just be the first couple of months. If you know nothing, go out there and learn everything you can high level about AI. 3 to 4 months later, I say you should be working on hands-on skills. So if you want to be a security person, test prompt injection vulnerabilities. If you think you're going to build data models and use them for data science, start doing that. But I think the trick here is publishing this in Git, putting it out for the public to see. You want to make sure everybody can see you demonstrating actual technical skills. All right, so a lot of the GitHub repo history commits shows you're working on a project related to AI. It's also got some Python coding in there. Little by little, you're showing somebody who's coming and just looking through your profile, you're showing them you know what to do and that you've touched it before. And sometimes That's the number one thing that gets us cut is they go looking for us and they can't find us anywhere in GitHub. They don't see us, you helping the community out on the news groups or wherever the community is. So it's important to get involved, right? Do some hands-on stuff, and then make sure you share it. Tier 3, right? Out of specialization. So somewhere between months 5 and 6, you got to pick somewhere to focus. Do you want to be an AWS AI practitioner? Do you want to learn Google Cloud instead? Choose one. They're pretty much all going to be here between AWS, Microsoft, and Google. So just choose something along one of those lines. Maybe you just want to learn uh, how to build your own AI, right? And there will be certifications for that. But somewhere around months 5 to 6, you need to choose a security on your path or a certificate on your path and go get that certificate. All right, that's going to show everybody that you have proof that you've learned the skill, right? Then you got the history on your GitHub, you got the background so you can talk the jargon, okay? So why do I think the timing is perfect for juniors? Right now, university programs don't exist, right? They're starting to make them. Maybe you can get a degree in AI from Harvard or somewhere, but it's not prevalent, right? It will be prevalent in a while, but right now, you can just go get certifications and stand out more than somebody without them. The companies need them now. We need you now, right? Everybody's hot on the AI craze and nobody knows how to manage it. Nobody knows how to, handle the ethics and govern it. Nobody knows anything about it, how to secure it, how to run it. All of these fields are up for grabs. Anybody with a certificate should be able to get into one of these companies now because they need you. It's small enough to stand out, right? So it's easier to become known as the person who knows X, Y, and Z that nobody else knows. Right? If you want to put code into a project because you do enjoy writing Python or whatever, and go contribute to it and build something that they really need that helps you stand out, then it's really easy to do while the field is small. As it gets more saturated, it's harder to stand out as the person who's been in the SplunkTrust for 15 years or whatever. All right, so get started now and stand out. Another thing to note is all these regulations are creating demand. So as frameworks are coming online, as compliance requirements are coming online, companies have to navigate that. And it just leads back to the demand. So here's your action plan. If you start today, this week, I want you to join 3 AI security communities online. I don't care if it's Reddit. I don't care if you're just somewhere in some message board obscurely on the internet. Join 3 places. LinkedIn is a great place to find them. Just type in AI, type in security. Pretty much anywhere you go in IT and cybersecurity, they'll be talking about AI, so you don't have to limit yourself to just an AI group. But join 3 groups that you see that are talking about AI and do that this week. Then set up a basic development environment. So yes, you've heard you can't run it on your own computer. You need a real nice rig to run AI, etc. Well, you can run ChatGPT on their machine. Just go to chatgpt.com, right? You can run some small models locally, and it's good to figure out what you can and can't do. So I highly recommend setting up a basic environment where you try to run AI, run into the errors I ran into, where you run out of disk because the Yama 2.0 is so many gigabytes on disk you can't even download. Right? You run into all sorts of technical issues that are training for you as you learn to get around them. So get your own environment, set that up. I especially recommend that if you can run your own model, run a small model or something like that locally. I would do that for prompt injection attacks. So if you want to get into security, try that. but maybe don't do that with your personal ChatGPT account. It might kick you out. You might get kicked off the platform for trying prompt injection, right? It's against terms of services. But if you run a model locally, prompt inject it, try the major ones, see what happens. See how easy it is, how hard it is. You might learn something. Later this month, see if you can pick a specialization track, not to just like go forward with it necessarily, but to at least investigate it. Figure out, is that something you want to do? All right. And start building your first portfolio project. You might learn it's not something you want to do the first project you work on, and that's okay. Just start it. Get started with it, right? Try it. And begin documenting it publicly. That's one thing I was harping on earlier. Make sure everybody knows you're on your learning path and can get to it and see what you did. And like I mentioned, get some certificates, right? Build those projects and start networking. So you're going to start knowing who's who because you've done your research. Reach out to them, connect with them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram or whatever, wherever you can find them, wherever they may be, network with them. It's very important. And then in 6 months, you should have job ready skills. You should have a portfolio showing what you want to do. And I would start applying to entry level AI security roles and other jobs. I guess the bottom line is it's not about getting any cybersecurity job, right? It's more about getting one in the highest paying segment of which includes AI, right? And the companies, right, they're looking for people who can actually solve their AI security problems, their AI operations problems. They're looking if you can prove that you can do that, right? Then they don't care if you're 25, they don't care if you're 52, they don't care if you have a degree. They just want to know that you can solve the problem. Excuse me, and I want to harp on starting now because in 2 years, right, there's going to be formal degree programs, there's going to be established career paths, and right now it's really easy to stand out. So here's some resources to get started. I'll leave that up here for just a minute. Some notable mentions like Tools to Learn, Python changed my life. Olama will let you run local AI models. It runs on every OS I've been on. Some communities to join here, right? I mentioned the LinkedIn AI security groups. There's Slack communities, there's subreddits, Discord servers. And I really like Hugging Face. Hugging Face and Anthropic. I didn't put Anthropic on here, but I meant to. Anthropic has great training courses related to AI. And Hugging Face is all about open source AI. So if you want to find a model you can run locally, Hugging Face is your go-to place there. All right, so when I really started this presentation, I thought about, what are jobs that will be safe post AI? And yeah, sure, you can just go get a job and add AI to it and get that 25 to 40% boost. But I'm a data engineer. I integrate AI with data. I do API programming. And then I also have to make sure all that's up and running, right? And in order for any of that to work, I need somebody who's a plumber to make sure the water's running in the cooling unit. I need to be sure there's an electrician that can run power when we need a power drop in the data center. I've got people who are splicing cables and, you name it. All of those jobs are supporting the AI boom, right? And all of these core ones here, the data engineers, the integration developers, API programmers, operations, the security, right? Those jobs are going to be here whether if AI replaces whoever or not, at least in my opinion. That's all I have for you today. I really appreciate everyone showing up and supporting me, and I'll open the floor to questions. Okay. An ethics officer doesn't sound like entry level, sure. So An AI ethics officer, right, can be entry level in the fact that they don't have them. So that's really what I meant by that. I'm not sure that I would necessarily call it entry level from a perspective of get the job when you're 16, but I think it's uh, a new career path, right? And I think if you just have the AI skill set and and you have the ethics background, right? Maybe you took some ethics courses in college or university. I think you could apply those with a brief understanding of AI and go get an entry level AI ethics officer career. Great question. So, how does AI figure into SIEM and SOAR? So that's a near and dear one to my heart. Thanks. Appreciate that, Peter, and I appreciate you being here to support me. Um, well, I think AI is going to help with the analyst, right? The first tier analyst, second tier analyst. It can do a lot of things that we would normally do in these playbooks and SOAR response playbooks, right? Um, uh, we could automate it ourselves, but you could help with a little bit of AI helping you decide what would I do with this data. Say it's an IP address. I know maybe I want to do a reverse lookup on that. I need to do this next step, etc. But if you're new to SIEM or SOAR, the AI can help you understand the basic concepts. It can help you, take a piece of data and understand what use cases might be surrounding that data. And I feel like that's really where AI will figure into that market, Peter. So thanks for that question. I think it's really going to help people learn cybersecurity. All right, favorite use case of AI in cybersecurity. Okay, I really like the automated pen testing that my buddies over at Horizon 3 AI are doing. They've got agent you deploy in your environment, and it does uh, a plethora of attacks. Right, it tries to spread out. It looks for all the vulnerabilities. But if it finds a vulnerability, it keeps going and it finds the next vulnerability. And a small little printer FTP server might actually lead to a much more persistent threat in your environment. And having AI run through it, they just completed one of those tests that, it takes a crackpot cybersecurity guy or a team of people maybe a week to do it. They did it in minutes with AI. So there's all these tests that they're running it through now. And in each case, it's so much faster than humans running through the same scenario. I really think it's also going to help with the time it takes to solve problems in cybersecurity, right? So it's just going to be so much quicker now that we have it. All right, how have you implemented AI in your company as a founder? Okay, well, I like vibe coding. I'm with Peter on that. It's a lot of fun. So I've created a website. You can check it out as bentleypc.com. That's my consulting website. And if you try to get to the code on the back end, for example, it drops you into an arcade. So you end up playing Space Invaders or something when you thought you were going to steal my JavaScript. So that's just one way I use it, right, in marketing. But I'm not really using it for any security use cases, etc. I rely on human talent for that right now. What was the most recent AI focused role that you hired? Okay. Yeah, it's got to be prompt engineering. I mean, that's just what everybody wanted. That was the last thing I went through the process with. I needed somebody who could um, not just prompt engineering, but the auditing behind the prompting, right? So it's more of like an auditing. How are we using ChatGPT? So show me, what the users are doing. Show me if they're exfiltrating data. It was really a multifaceted role that was more than just security, but it needed some development to pull in the data, things like that. But they called it a prompt engineer for whatever reason.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being here today.
Thank
And we're going
you.
to go into the next focus session. Thanks for supporting us. Thank you.